Very good afternoon, all dear students. I, Dr. Kunjal Lotwala, welcome you all on behalf of Agarwal Vidya Vihar English Medium College in the session of written and spoken communication. As you remember that in last lecture I have discussed the prose, the second prose in the syllabus, Toasted English by R.K. Narayan. Now moving ahead with the new poem that is there in your syllabus. This is the third poem rather, As I Grew Older, written by Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes, who is Afro-American poet, talking about the author Langston Hughes, whose lifespan is 1902 to 1967, was a leading writer and thinking of the Harlem Renaissance. Harlem Renaissance that occurred in in America, that is Afro America. This occurred and it was conducted by African American black people. This is the movement. The span is 1920 to 1940, where the renewal or no revival of the art, literature, politics, and religion, they have started reviving it and they have started contributing in this in during this period of time. So awareness has been occurred during this period of time from African American writer. So the African American artistic movement of 1920s that celebrate African American life and culture. They are replicating their life and culture. As such, you know that literature is the mirror of the nature. The same way, their literature is also mirroring or reflecting their life and culture. He started writing at a young age and rose to fame with his poetry collection, The Weary Blues, which was published in 1926, and Fine Clothes to the Jews, that was published in 1927. So he has started writing, he has started contributing in this, poetry, where he is reflecting his own reality, how Afro-American people were living, and what kind of culture they have. So it is reflecting in his collection of the poetry. So the early inventors of jazz poetry, Hughes, condemned racism, promoted equality, and celebrated African American life, culture, spirituality through his poetry, novels, plays, and essays. So he is the inventor of this jazz poetry. What is a jazz poetry? Jazz poetry means it's a free verse kind of poetry. They are not following any kind of rules and regulations, no rhyme schemes, nothing. So it gives free speech to their opinion. So his poem generally discusses racism, then promoted equality. Because during this period of time, you observe that how in United States of America, people were keeping biased opinion towards the race. So racism was going on, inequality was going on. They were not having proper kind of freedom of expression because they are considered as second sex or no secondary kind of people, those who are not considered even as a human being, right? So this is what kind of discrimination was going on, and this discrimination basically on their skin color, so black and white skin. So they were always demanding for the equality, and jazz poetry and this Harlem Renaissance is celebrating this kind of expression for them, expression for freedom, expression for the equality and all such things. So this is what they are reflecting in the poetry, novels, plays, and essays. Now moving ahead with the poem. About the poem, As I Grew Older was first published in 1925 and is included in Langston Hughes' first collection of the poems, The Weary Blues, published a year later in 1926. So ultimately, this poem was published in 1926 in the collection of The Weary Blues, and the poem is about one's dream in life. So as I grew older is talking about the writer's dream, that his dream in life, the hardship, the reality that as a black boy, how he felt, how he was discriminated. So the hardship one has to endure, one has to suffer, and the strong will one needs to have in order to achieve goals and realize dreams. So it is too difficult for the black people to achieve their dream because they were considered, or they were told that not to achieve their dreams because they are useless creatures. So this is what the make-believe situation was going on. It is easy to dream and dream to provide a source of inspiration, but a determined efforts is needed to transform dreams into reality. Obviously, everyone should have their own dreams. It is easy to see the dream, but at the same time, it is very difficult to fulfill it. So one should have a kind of determination to fulfill it, and there may be many obstacles in fulfilling all such kind of dreams, but one has to know be determined to fulfill it. Using the wall as an evocative symbol use alerts us to the obstacles and challenges that lie in the path of realizing one's dream. So he's telling that no wall he is describing as a symbol in the poem, where achieving your dream you will come across many kind of hurdles, but all these hurdles, obstacles, and challenges uh, you need to overcome, and then you can fulfill your dream. So the journey is doubly difficult for the speaker of a poem because of the discrimination he faces as an African American person. So why doubly difficult? Because everyone see the dream, and we always uh, after fulfilling it, and we always have certain kind of hindrance here and there. So that is one hindrance that naturally occur. And the secondly, that is racism is there, where white people have already oppressed them, already subjugated them, suppressed them, that they cannot do certain things. They always create a kind of hindrance in their life. So that's how he has double challenges in their life, in his life. So poem thus dramatize the anguish of those who are victim of racial discrimination. However, by juxtaposing images of light and shadow, Hughes turns the conflict between hope and despair into a universal experience. So he is showing a kind of side by side. He is keeping uh, things to show the contrast with the use of imagery like light and shadow, light and dark. So he turns this conflict between hope and despair into the universal experience of all these black people. So he is bespeaking uh, of this African American black skinned people, those who have always faced a kind of discrimination, racial discrimination. And this racial discrimination is suggesting through how he determined to break all such things. So this is what he is describing in the poem. Now looking at the poem, As I Grew Older by Langston Hughes. It was a long time ago. I have almost forgotten my dream, but it was there then, in front of me, bright like a sun, my dream. And then the wall rose slowly, between me and my dream, rose until it touched the sky. The wall, shadow, I am black. I lie down in the shadow, no longer the light of my dream before me, above me, only the thick wall, only the shadow. My dark hands, break through the wall, find my dream, help me to shatter this darkness, to smash this night, to break this shadow into 1,000 lights of sun, into 1,000 brilliant beams of sun. So it is very simple poem. So Langston Hughes, he gives the title of this poem, I Grew Older. Why he is giving this title? So something that will get changed. As I grew older, something will get changed. So he fought for the no racial discrimination, for freedom, for equality, and he speaks on behalf of all these black people. So the way he came across a kind of hardship of Afro-American life during 1900th century, all injustice that he has faced. So he's telling, as I grew older, while facing all such kind of hurdles in my life, what has happened? So as I grew older is also suggesting that it is his journey from a childhood to the adulthood. So now begin with the poem. First line. It was a long time ago. So Langston Hughes, as I grew older, begins about a dream that the poet had long time ago. So it was a long time ago. I have almost forgotten my dream. So he's talking about his dream. And he's telling, poet has since nearly forgotten because it was, it's been long time. So when he was a kid, he had a dream. And now he has almost forgotten his dream. But it was there then. The poet says his dream is bright as the sun and was right in front of him. So, but it was there then in front of me, bright like a sun, my dream. So back then, however, it was right in front of him, bright like a sun, dream. So at that point of time, he was having that dream. And what kind of dream? That was bright like a sun. And then the wall rose slowly between me and my dream. And then wall rose between him and his dream. The poet is an old man now, and he is thinking about his dream, which he dreamt long time ago. He thinks he has almost forgotten his dream. So rose until it touched the sky, the wall, the shadow. So till now he is discussing that it was a long time ago. I have almost forgotten my dream because now he is older, so he has forgotten his dream. But it was there then. But when he was a kid, it was there in front of him. How bright like a sun, my dream. And then the wall rose, and then suddenly a wall rose slowly between me and my dream. And then the wall rose between him and his dream. The poet is now old man, and now he and his thinking about his dream, which he dreamt long time ago. He thinks he has almost forgotten his dream. So rose until it touched the sky and the wall shadow. So a wall rose up until it touched the sky. The wall is a shadow, and he remembers that his dream was not fulfilled as a strong barrier was created by his fellow white people who will not let him dream come true. Because of these white skinned people, their oppression, their subjugation, he cannot fulfill his dream. And the wall seems to grow forever and ever, and it has become taller, that it rose until it touched the sky. So this is no kind of dream which touched the sky. The wall is too, it rose too long that it touched the sky. The dream which was as bright as the sun has now turned dark. The wall has become a long dark shadow and has become blocking the dream. So that's why he is telling the wall, shadow, I'm black. I lie down in the shadow. So I am black. The dream being replaced by a shadow. So now dream is being replaced by shadow. The dream was considered earlier as a bright like a sun, and now it is like shadow. See here juxtaposition. The poet has become black. He lies down in the shadow. I am black. So he is here considering his skin also, that he is black, African American, which prevent the light of the dream from the shining on him. So I lie down in the shadow, no longer the light of my dream before me, above me, only the thick wall, only the shadow. So poet lies down beside the shadow, which means he feels defeated and helpless. He finds that his dream is no longer above him, and so he feels vanquished. Instead of his dreams, he finds the thick wall and the shadow above him. A dream of freedom and independence is no longer real for the black skinned people, I mean to say, and it has been overshadowed by the wall created by the fellow white people. So he's telling, my dark hands break through the wall, find my dream. And he cries, my dark hands. So he wants to break through the wall through his hands and find his dream. So dark hands refers to the poet's own hands, as he is describing as himself. No, I am black and my hands are black also. So the color of his skin, who will be able to break through the wall and find his dream. So again he's telling, help me to shatter this darkness, to smash this night, to break his shadow into 1,000 lights of sun, into 1,000 reeling dreams of sun. So the poet wants to break apart the darkness and smash the night. He wants to shadow to break apart into 1,000 lights of sun and 1,000 reeling dreams of sun. He wants to break the wall and shatter the darkness that is keeping him from attending his dream. He wants to break the shadow into 1,000 lights of sun and 1,000 reeling dreams. So you see that how in very simple language he is describing his struggle from the very beginning till the end. So you see the tone. In the beginning, the tone of the poem, in this beginning, this line, it suggests that the poet's tone is optimistic, naive and innocent, because he is describing his childhood. So obviously innocence is there. Later on, in between, you see that how he is facing a kind of oppression from these white people, a discrimination, subjugation, where he is fighting for a kind of equality. So later on it suggests a kind of depressing and angry one, and finally at the end he would like to smash the wall and to acquire his dreams of sun. So here he is finally suggesting a kind of hope for achieving dream. So changing the tone of the poem is also describing the changing perspective towards life from childhood to adulthood. It shows the progress. Now you see the structure. So the structure of the poem is composed in free verse because he is the person who has introduced the jazz tradition, jazz poetry in the way of writing style. You see the imagery. So light and dark imagery. It is in the beginning how I just mentioned about the poem that juxtaposition is suggested through light and dark and shadow. So this light is describing sun bright, no, bright like sun is describing dream, that what kind of dream he has. So it's describing a kind of symbolism. It symbolizes dreams, hopes, optimism, possibilities, goodness, intellectual achievements, awareness. On the contrary, darkness symbolizes with prejudice, discrimination, hatred, racism, evil, ignorance. So all such things are described through imageries. The another imagery you see here, that is, I am black and dark, my dark hands, my hands. So the color of poet's skin, he makes the difference with the color. The speaker believes that he can break through the barriers of being born with a darker skin tone in a white society. So he would like to smash all such kind of discrimination. He is finding for the equality and he is giving voice to it. So I am black and my dark hands are the example of blunt truthness and the reality that was prevailing during this period of time. And then high wall. The wall is exaggerated to stress the vastness of the hindrance that has been created by the uh, white people for the black people during the days of racial oppression in America. So this is what he is describing into the poem. So I would like to repeat it that for your feasibility, that Langston Hughes suggests as I grew older. So he is suggesting from the childhood to adulthood his journey. As a child, he had a dream. The dream was bright like sun, but when he had seen this dream at that point of time, he was a kid. But then later on, gradually, the wall has started rising slowly and slowly, and it became so long that it touched the sky. And now the shadow of that wall is making him realize that he is a dark person, he is a black American, Afro American person who is not getting all kind of rights that white people used to have. They know there is a kind of injustice prevailing during this period of time. So they were not getting all kind of freedom for their expression. They were not getting any kind of freedom to fulfill their dreams. So as a result of it, such wall is also describing hindrance in their path, which was created by the by the white people for the black people. So now, no, he is finding a kind of depression where he is unable to fulfill his dream because this wall is above him, and it is so thick wall that its shadow has created a kind of darkness on his mind. But he is telling that I have my hands, and my hands, though it is dark, though I am aware about it, but these hands are helping me to break through the wall and find my dreams. And when I can find my dreams, it helps me, my hands, this dark colored hands are helping me to shatter this wall, to smash this night, this darkness. And when I break the shadow of this wall, when I break this wall, and when I break this, and when I smash this night, what is happening? I can see my dream. I can pursue my dream. So this is what at the end he is became so hopeful to fulfill his dream of sun. So sun is again describing the brightness, hope. So this is what the poet is describing into the poem. Now moving ahead with the glossary. Shatter means to break into very small pieces. Smash means to break into many pieces suddenly, noisily and violently. And whirling means spinning and rotating. Uh, Later on, I would like to discuss these questions with you. You just keep in mind this question. So next time when I will discuss with you, at least you should have a certain kind of answer in your mind. So what did the speaker have a long time ago? So in the very beginning of the line, you see what was there in his mind, right? Then what happened to the speaker as he grew older? So as he grew older, what happened to him? What happened to his dream? Explain how the images of light and darkness are used in the poem. This is what I have discussed while discussing the poem. The imagery is that light is suggesting something, symbolizes something, and darkness is symbolizing something. Is the poem optimistic, pessimistic, or both? Explain. What do you think? Whether it is optimistic or pessimistic? I have discussed the tone also with you. What kind of tone? Because it is changing from from young age to adulthood. Then, why does the speaker mention using his hands to break through the wall? So, why his hands? So, it describes the action also, and as he is determined, he is describing it. Then, what do you think will be the effect of the breaking through the wall? So, what will be the effect? At the end, it is described. So, find the simile in the poem as I grew older and explain the comparison. So, simile you can find this. Simile means where the comparison is used, right? So, this also you can utilize or you can find out by your own. No doubt, I am discussing this in next lecture, but this is what you can think or ponder by your side. Find an example of each of the following techniques in the poem and explain why you think the author used the technique. So, what is the rhyme scheme? I have suggested in the earlier when I've discussed that it is a free poem, free verse, because he is the person who has established this jazz poetry. So, rhyme scheme, according to it, you can write down. Then repetition, what kind of repetition you see here? Sun, brightness, everything has been repeated. Then imagery also just I have discussed with you. So this is what you can discuss here. Then explain the symbols used in the poem. So what kind of symbols that poet has used? The wall is there, hands are there, then brightness, everything has been used as a symbol. So sun. So symbols in detail you have to write it down. So these are the short questions that I would like to discuss with you in the next session. If you have any queries regarding this short poem, that is poetry, you can ask your questions in Google Classroom, and this is what about the poem. So about the author, you may ask MCQs also from not only from this poetry, but till now whatever I have discussed with you, why I have discussed about the author, about the poem, because MCQs may be asked from this, which I haven't provided you, but it would be asked because this is something that will be asked to you as far as MCQs are concerned from this about the poem, about the author. Then from the poem also you may ask the MCQs. So what you could understand, or you can finish the lines also, or suitable words you can put. So this is what helpful to you, and this is the question answers. So I hope it is helpful to you in a way to understand and to know the analysis of the poem. In next lecture, I would like to discuss the question answers, and I will begin with the next your prose, that is the Grammar of Anarchy, written by B.R. Ambedkar, Baba Saheb Ambedkar. So this is what I'll discuss in next lecture. Thank you.